welcome M9s to the only party that matters, the Riptide Afterparty.
Beautiful.
Thank you. That's a little intro I've come up with. I thought it was episode 4, we better have one by now. I am joined by Tom, the, what are we calling you now, promoter, booker?
Producer.
Yeah. Very fancy. We are not joined by Adam or Josh. They've got better things to do than talk to us. Not quite the truth. They're actually just busy, unfortunately, on the day of recording. But I like to think it's because they weren't cool enough to get in the after party.
True.
Well, we're going to be using today's episode mainly to focus on the upcoming Pride of Brighton tournament. But before we get there, is there any news we want to cover?
At the upcoming Pride of Brighton show, we have a guest match from Attack Pro Wrestling, featuring Chris Brooks attempting to find a permanent replacement for his little wolf buddy. It's the Invitational Shit Wolf replacement 2, after the previous one took place at the Storm in 2017 at the Brighthelm Centre.
Although we're not supposed to swear because it's a family show, isn't it?
It's a twit wolf, I believe.
I think Sharda Wolf. That works, doesn't it?
Sure.
He's in Schadenfreude. Yeah, so we don't know who the mystery man is yet. Or woman, what am I saying man for?
Yeah, indeed. I believe, Chris will be bringing a motley crew of potential candidates from Attack. So we'll see who turns up for that.
Intriguing. If it swings him at all, I have got a Lycos t-shirt and a Lycos mask lying around somewhere.
I'm not sure what the contendership rules are for this time. Previously, it was turn up and just wear a Lycos mask, and you'll pick from the candidates.
And yet, oddly, it only seemed to be the people who knew how to successfully go over the top rope that were picked from the crowd.
You got picked from the best.
It
was a good pool of candidates.
Yeah, all very athletic looking chaps.
Yeah.
This is where I'm proper shilling mode, folks. You can get on Riptide Wrestling store. You can get the Anti-Fun Police jacket and hat combination. It's an easy Halloween costume. That's all I'm saying. Put that on and just don't smile. That's your Halloween sorted.
No smiles.
No,
nada.
No smiles. Right, shall we get on to the actual tournament?
Yes, indeed.
So this is the first Pride of Brighton show. Is the whole tournament in one day, or is this stage 1?
This is the first round of the tournament. I believe the semi-finals and finals. So the final rounds will be culminating at the Brighton Open Air Theatre on the 26th of August. So there's 2 shows on that day, and that's the Bank Holiday Wrestling is where we'll see the first Pride of Brighton crowned. Nice.
But we don't want to confuse that with the current show, the Pride of Brighton tournament starter, I suppose, which is the 9th of June at the Brighton Youth Centre on Edward Street. Brand new venue for you guys.
Exciting little venture for us.
Yeah, it's right around the corner from where I worked at American Express for 10 years.
A lot of people do. It's the first place a lot of people go to work, isn't it?
Yeah,
in Brighton. A lot of people will be familiar with Edward Street.
Leads up to the hospital, which could be handy if it was particularly violent action going on in the ring.
And the court, indeed, where.
And what do we know about the venue? What is it? What are we thinking? Like it's a smaller, more intimate venue?
We're anticipating it's being slightly smaller in capacity. We'll see.
Fair enough. Well, let's talk about the actual tournament itself. Now, we're going to go through all the brackets and the competitors in the actual tournament, but there's a couple of other matches. We've mentioned the Attack guest CCK Wolf replacement match. But we've also got Paul Robinson versus Cara Noir. That'll be... I think I described Cara Noir versus Chris Ridgway as Kiki versus Kiki. But this is Kiki versus Kiki round 2. Or Vicious versus Beautiful and Delicious.
They're both unpredictable, aggressive. Funnily enough, I hadn't really thought about this, but it's Paul Robinson's first singles match at Riptide.
Really?
Yeah. He came in and he was there at our very first show, seconding B Priestley, and has since his return from semi-retirement, he's been with the Chikara in a tag team. So this is the first time he's delved into singles venture for us.
I hadn't even realised that. I suppose he's such a big presence.
Exactly.
I think I get so scared when he comes out, I don't necessarily pay attention to what the rules are. I just focus on him and go, ugh.
Yeah. You could consider him being let off the leash, and that's quite a terrifying prospect in itself.
Yeah. Well, if there's one man, stroke bird, who can keep up with him, I imagine it's Cara Noir. Certainly unsettling and aggressive in his own way.
Cara Noir looking to claim his first singles victory as well, having put on a slew of match of the night contenders and including match of the year from last year, but is yet to pick up a win at Riptide.
Again, I hadn't actually realised that. Oh, well, he looks good in the feet, doesn't he? Because I hadn't realised.
Absolutely does, yeah.
So that'll be a good one. We also got the Anti-Fun Police versus Gene Money and Sugar Dunkerton, two people who made their debut at the Rumble recently. Gene Money and Sugar Dunkerton. They're the opposite of Anti-Fun. Shall we just call them the Fun Police?
I think that would be what ended up having them put into that match.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yeah,
I do believe it.
Yeah.
I'd never seen either one of them before prior to the Rumble, and both of them left a really positive impression on me.
I think so. Yeah. They a lot of people were saying how even prior to the Rumble, people were talking about these guys as really good prospects to come into Riptide, and it was nice to see the crowd really warm to them.
Well, I'd certainly heard of both of them. In fact, I've got some of Gene Money's merch. I've just never actually seen him.
What have you got?
I've got one of his hats. It's like a tropical parrot-covered captain's hat. It's it's what you need on the seafront from time to time. There's a little captain's hat.
I'd heard of him previously for his Ainsley Lariat finisher.
Okay, so we've got Anti-Fun Police versus Gene Money and Sugar Dunkerton. That's just going to be, dare I say, fun.
The clincher for a lot of people may be that this might be a very, very different atmosphere to our regular Riptide shows, because this is an all ages show as well. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how a younger audience potentially takes to all of those characters.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose it's a good time to mention, if there are going to be chants for Paul Robinson, let's keep it tasteful.
Tone it down, lads.
Yeah.
I think give it to him as badly as he dishes it out.
Yeah. You need one of those DJ Z things. Bah, 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 whenever someone says a naughty word.
Man's a professional.
Yeah. Well, I guess then that leaves the big topic of conversation is the actual brackets themselves. I thought it'd be quite interesting, Tom, as you're our man on the inside. I'm going to go through the brackets, name each person, you tell us why they've been picked for this tournament.
Cool.
Because a couple of the people here haven't had singles matches before at Riptide, and you think, well, how did they get in the tournament? So I thought you could tell us what they bring to the table for you. So for one of the brackets, we've got Connor Mills versus Jordan Briggs. Of course, Jordan Briggs, local hometown hero. Connor Mills, very athletic guy on the rise, has had some matches with you in tag team action. But what's the thinking of these guys locking up?
So, Connor Mills is one of the staples of the London wrestling circuit. You'll see him coming up last year having some pretty crazy matches, and to the point where Progress Super Strong Style winner David Starr mentioned him in his winning speech. I believe one of the first names he mentioned was Connor Mills.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been raving about his work for a long time, and he's been on the cusp of greatness, but we're just, it'd be great to see what he can bring to this tournament. Some really good aerial and striking offence that I think is really exciting to watch.
Of course, that will counter very well with Jordan's more ground-based technical approach.
Yeah. So, there was a certain appetite for Jordan to climb the ladder at Riptide, which I think it really showed at the Riptide Rumble, where arguably he was the most popular, one of the most popular performers at the Rumble.
You had 3 separate chants throughout the night.
Chants were breaking out for him. He scored undoubtedly the biggest upset in Riptide history against Spike Trivet. And it's going to be a really, really solid contest, I think, between those two.
Absolutely, and either one would be a talent to keep your eye on, regardless of the results.
Yes.
And in another round, we've got the OJMO, a man whose T-shirt is drawing on my radiator right now, not to show any favouritism. OJMO versus Curtis Chapman, who I do not have a T-shirt of and is not hanging anywhere in the flat.
Good.
Ojmo, he hasn't won any. I don't believe he had one singles match against Spike in the original championship.
He did, yeah. Unfortunately for the OJMO, there has been throughout where Riptide has started, he's been out with injury like a few times where we've been looking to put him into high profile matches. There was one point where he was originally booked to face Tony Storm at the original Deep Six, but injuries had other ideas, unfortunately. So he's had his setbacks, but he's actually had in the last month or so, undoubtedly the best run of his career, performing at Ali Pali, at York Hall, Wrestling Pack, Rev Pro. He's been tearing it up at the Resistance Gallery with the likes of Cara Noir and Chuck Mambo. So we can see that he's got what it takes to hit that upper echelon.
Mm-hmm. And of course, he is a Battle Pro champion at Knuckle Locks.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely been a guy on the rise for the last year or so, but he seems to have really found his stride lately. Really strong character work, but also just a new confidence, I think, in the ring.
Yeah, the guy has shown some really, really good intensity in recent times, and we're looking to see if he can translate that to this tournament. Facing possibly the biggest bell end in in the south of England, old Chapman.
Yeah. Where's a 2-metre security guard when you need him? Well, I mean, you've actually booked Chapman. I mean, a lot of times he just turns up and gets involved in stuff, but this time you've given him a shot in the tournament. Why is that, Tom?
There's a lot to be said for someone you don't like getting smacked in the face. It's a lot of fun.
There was a real fire in your eyes as you said that. It's like some distant memory triggered in your brain.
People love to see a dickhead get their comeuppance. So, here's hoping.
Yeah. Well, on that logic, I almost wish he does well in the tournament so lots of different people can slap him around. But, you know, we got to be fair to Chapman. He is very skilled.
Yeah. The man, to his credit, dare I say, is tremendously underrated, and would like to see him go further in his career.
Yeah.
Just not here, please.
Well, hopefully Ojmo can put him in a half crab, cripple him for a little bit. I mean, the beach is the perfect place for half crabs. So, after that, thank you. After that, Shikara versus Cassius. Cassius also debuted at the Rumble along with Gene Money and Sugar Duncton and a few other people. Cassius, I've seen in solo action in other promotions. He's taken on Shikara, but why have you booked Cassius for this?
Cassius, one of the things I love about wrestling, and I may have mentioned it on the pod, is when you have a character that within a couple of seconds of seeing them, you know what they're all about. And I think Cassius, as soon as he walks out at the ring, you get an idea of the kind of guy that Cassius likes to portray himself as. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really exciting prospect to have someone who's just so colourful and vibrant and fabulous.
He's not exactly shy and understated, is he?
No. He's wonderful. And, we saw him recently at the second Head Drop show, having an excellent match with Chris Brooks as well, so he can definitely bring it. And he's a really nice dude as well, just having sort of only... You know, there's a lot of people at the Rumble show, a lot of new faces there, but it was really good to finally meet Cassius, because we've been wanting to bring him in for a little while.
Excellent. So, in bringing him in, you thought, let's pair him off against someone who's no nonsense and will batter him senseless, Chikara.
Yes. And her growth has been fantastic since pairing with Robbo, especially. She's managed to elicit very strong reactions from the audience, albeit negative ones. And she's just got a really, really good charisma.
I mean, Chikara is someone I was aware of prior to RIPTIDE even existing. I had seen her in some matches, but I think particularly since she's teamed with Robbo down here, there is a mean streak. I mean, there always was, but it's just gone up a level.
Yes.
There's a real not playing to the fans and really wanting to hurt people attitude now. I think it could be a good year for her, actually. We'll
see how she's able to use the tools that she's learned in this run with Paul Robinson, see if she can use that to her advantage in this tournament.
Mm-hmm. And then in the last round of the brackets, we have Candy Floss versus Shay Purser. Shay, of course, is part of Money versus Everybody. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say he's an unofficial member, but he's not known as like an active wrestling member.
Yes.
So how come he's getting his big break here?
Well, this is Shay's first singles contest at RIPTIDE. He showed some... perhaps more guts than brains at the Rumble, trying to take on the very dangerous trio of Santos, Jørn Simmons and Big T Justice all at once. But that was somewhat admirable, I suppose. Spike Trivet himself has tweeted recently that Shay Purser is his favourite wrestler. So
your least favourite wrestler's favourite wrestler?
Yeah.
I mean, Shay... I say this, I've honestly never even spoken to him, but he has the most slappable face I think I've ever seen. And we've already mentioned Chapman, but I think Shay's face is just yearning for a good slap around those rosy cheeks. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Shay. But Candy, she's on quite a roll lately. She could be the person to do it. Obviously, a hell of a match with TK Cooper a few shows ago.
Yep.
We had her against Mercedes Martinez recently.
Bit of a roll as well, yeah.
Yeah,
Very good match there as well. Perhaps the most improved roster member since her debut.
Well, she's been a great stand for Riptide. You've been able to watch her progress, but also she's always been at a certain level. So you can see her grow, but she was always quality entertainment.
Yeah, and like Cassius, when she comes out, I see people react to her because they instantly see the bright colours, the sparkly. They know what she's all about, but they underestimate her because actually when she gets into the ring, she's developed quite the technical prowess. It's very exciting to watch her try and tear people's arms off.
Yeah, something I wouldn't have expected from Candy a year ago, but now just feels right, which tells you how much she's grown as a competitor, I suppose.
Yeah.
So that's quite. that alone is quite an evening. But then, as we say, you've got the Paul Robinson, Karen Noir, you got the Anti-Fun Police, Gene Money, Sugar Duncan. You've got the Attack guest match, CCK Replacement Wolf event. Is that a match? Is that an event? I don't know. It's something.
It's going to be chaos, whatever it is.
I don't want to turn this into just one giant advert, but it's on the 9th of June at the Brighton Youth Centre, and if you haven't got tickets, you should, because new venue, new excitement, new experiences.
Get on it.
Just off the ones we've mentioned, are there any matches so far which are making you think, I can't wait to see that one?
I think I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing Paul Robinson and Cara Noir, and I think that's going to seriously turn some heads. And of the tournament matches, as far as equal footing goes, for people that we've seen in seriously competitive situations, I think we're looking at Jordan Breaks and Connor Mills may well steal the show on that as well.
I think there's a very good chance of that. It's sort of spectacular versus solid, and we'll see which one's better. Very skillful in very different ways, which is always an interesting match. I actually think Shikara and Cassius. I think you've got very clear who to boo and who to cheer with that one.
The very lovable versus very hateable
Yeah.
match usually is a recipe for success.
Well, let's hope so, because that's your company, not mine. When I was organising this episode, and originally it was going to be Adam, Josh, myself, and yourself, Tom, I had said, hey, it's the Pride of Brighton tournament. You know, it'd be a fun feature. Is why don't we talk about things of Brighton that make us proud, or things we've done in Brighton that we're proud of? It'd just be a nice way to share with each other and share the beauty and passion of Brighton as a whole. And then Josh and Adam couldn't make it, unfortunately, so it's you and me. And I have to admit, I thought everyone else was going to pick these beautiful answers, so I picked kind of silly ones. So now the pressure's on you, Tom.
Oh, right, okay.
We're going to talk about prides of Brighton. What is it about the place that makes you proud to live here? Or what have you done here that you're really proud of as a personal accomplishment? Anything along those lines?
I really don't understand national pride. When people go, I'm proud to be British, or, I'm proud I was born here and it's just a circumstance. I've chosen to live in Brighton. For the last 10 years or so, nearly, I've lived in Brighton. And it's just, I've been able to do way more interesting things with more interesting people. It's a blessing to live somewhere which understands the importance of the arts. It's a great place for performance to thrive, be it music or indeed wrestling. We've found a really, really good community of conscientious wrestling fans. What I love about Brighton is that it's normal to be a bit weird. When people come and visit, and they'll sort of stop in their tracks when they see somebody who's dressed like an absolute maniac. And they'll be like, what's up with that person? I'll be like, oh, I didn't even notice them. I didn't even notice. And
he's just taking his snake for a walk.
He's just getting on with it, And that's it. Everyone's just allowed to be who they are. And that's reflected in our politics. People, there's remember that Baz Luhrmann song, the sunscreen song.
Everybody's free
to wear sunscreen, and there's the bit that sticks with me in that was when they talk about move to New York but leave before it makes you too hard, and move to California but leave before it makes you too soft. And I think it made me. I think Brighton, having lived in Brighton for 10 years, it's going to be difficult to ever move anywhere else because I've been hacked down, and everyone here's so lovely and friendly and open-minded, and quote unquote woke.
Yeah.
That when I go back to Fareham where I grew up, or Portsmouth or Southampton, or a lot of other places I go to, and it's quite an uphill battle to explain that people from other walks of life aren't evil and trying to ruin your life.
I've had a literal example of that last year with my partner and I went on holiday to the Isle of Wight, and telling people we were from Brighton led to a lot of accusations of how terrible life must be here for X, Y and Z, and us saying that's why life here is great, because it's all right whatever your choice of lifestyle is.
And you do get that just... When people say, "Oh, I live in Brighton," and someone will make like a homophobic comment, and it's just so passé that you can't even bring yourself to try and entertain it at this point. Like, oh, there's a lot of gays down there, I hear. Yes, like so what?
Yes, they seem to like it. We seem to like it. It all works out.
Are you going anywhere with this point? Or I'm glad that perhaps I wouldn't have had the liberation of being able to meet so many people from the LGBT community living in Southampton, where I lived previously. And to really get to know people from other communities just brings your worldview closer to knowing that everybody's all the same, actually. Yeah. So I feel kind of lucky and proud that living in Brighton does help you sort of see the world like that. How about you?
It's a really good answer. Well, like I said, I figured someone else would do the heavy lifting on this one. So
you're welcome. Yeah.
My answers by design were a bit sillier. But all of that is absolutely true, and I do agree. And actually, my first answer does actually tie into that very nicely, which is one of the things I'm proud of about Brighton, is I moved down here. I'm not even sure the year, roughly 13, 14 years ago. And I only vaguely knew 2 people down here. And I just reinvented my life, and it wasn't easy, and it took time. Honestly, it took like a year, 2 years before I even had any friends down there. I had to get a job, and you have to find places to live. You have to learn all the places to go, and there were a lot of hiccups. There was a lot of awkward times at the start, living on minimum wage and things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm proud that I not just stuck through it, but got all the positives out of living in Brighton through that. When I had no money for entertainment, I did have friends I knew who'd say, I work at the cinema, I'll get you in. I work at the theatre, there's an empty seat, you have it. And it's, I can tell you right now, you wouldn't get that in Watford. But no. You do get it here. And so I'm proud to have redesigned my life around Brighton, but also how welcoming Brighton has been to me. And I think it's, it was a conscious decision to move here. I sort of thought, where can I see loads of bands? Where can I see independent cinema? Where can I hang out with people who are open-minded in kind of a left-wing punky kind of way?
Yeah.
And Brighton ticked all those boxes, so I did move down here consciously for it. But the sort of place it is, and the sort of people that also moved over here or were from here and have those values, really made me feel good about making that choice.
Yeah. That's not a silly answer at all.
No, that isn't. The next ones are.
Okay. That's a very touching answer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've got 3. My second one is something I'm proud of in Brighton. I'm proud of singing on stage with Nick Oliveri from Queens of the Stone Age.
Did you do that?
I did. Yeah. He played a gig at the Prince Albert about probably 5-6 years back.
Yeah.
And just a little acoustic show. But he said, does anyone want to get up and do Feel Good Hit of the Summer? And there's about 30 people. There's probably only about 60 people in the crowd, and half of us got on stage. And I did. And let me stress, I am stood way at the back with 30 people sort of, mumbling words rather than singing them. But if anyone who knows me knows how terrified I am of public singing, I really break out in a cold sweat at the thought of karaoke. It's a really big deal for me to have been, I was up on stage and vaguely mumbled some words quite far from a microphone.
Is that the one that goes, whatever you do? That one?
No, it was nicotine, Valium, Percodan, marijuana, ecstasy.
Oh, okay,
and you just keep doing that.
Yeah. The go, okay.
Exactly.
Right.
But no drugs were used to get me up on stage, I can tell you. But I'm actually quite proud of that, because it's not my natural state of being.
No.
But it's more fun to say, no, I'm a part of this is a community moment, and dive in.
Yeah.
My final pride moment is honestly a game of golf I had on the seafront, Crazy Golf, with my friend Jamie, who we've got a long-standing rivalry, and it came down to the last hole would win the whole game, and I needed a hole in one, and I putted and I missed, and the ball stopped just past the hole, and I went, no, blow mighty wind, blow, and the wind picked up and the ball turned around and dropped in, and I've never let him forget it. And so my proudest moment is being the undeclared universal golf champion of the universe.
of Brighton.
And that, I'll extend that out there. I know those Escape the Midcard guys have their Tuesday night game stuff. Like, if you want to get on a real Game Boys crazy golf down the seafront, I'll take you punks on.
Maybe we could arrange some sort of gamey Riptide crew sort of events and things like that. Yeah, perhaps like maybe the loading bar on the seafront might be a good venue. Or,
could be cool.
Yeah.
Get down the bowling alley. Right?
Yeah. That does sound like a good plan.
They've got the dinosaur crazy golf there as well.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah. I mean, as far as crazy golf goes, the courses are pretty tame, but the luminous dinosaurs is just not something you see every day. So it's worth going just for that.
I think it's something Chuck Mambo sees every day. Chuck Mambo vision.
Luminous dinosaurs.
Yeah,
I want
that's
what
how
he's
he lives
having.
his life.
Yeah.
You don't want what he's having. You couldn't handle what he's having. He's high on life, is what I mean, listeners. That's all. I would say as well with the whole Pride of Brighton thing, he's obviously not here and I'm completely speaking on his behalf, but I would like to think Josh, as well as yourself, would be proud of creating Riptide.
Very much.
Yeah, and get it up and running, because it literally came from nothing, and there's a lot of people involved, I'm aware, loads of people behind it, absolutely everyone, but it should come down to you and Josh really for getting it rolling and keeping it rolling.
Yeah, and I mean, I've sort of alluded to the story of how Josh and I met, but that's through the music scene as well in Brighton, and so if it wasn't for the vibrant music scene here, then our worlds wouldn't have collided.
Yeah,
I still think he would have gone ahead and run the company, but yeah.
But who'd be his producer?
Right, yeah.
Daddy Bevan? I don't think so. So it's all perfectly balanced to work out as it has. So I would hope you're both proud of that.
Very, very proud. Yeah, and I think it's been a really, really good networking opportunity for us to meet so many amazing people like yourself.
Thank you.
And perhaps many of you listeners.
Well, I was actually going to say another part you should be proud about is the fan base community that's built up.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is very supportive and everyone's lovely. The M9s, as they're sort of unofficially known, they're great. I can't think of anyone in it who's an arsehole.
We really don't have to work particularly hard when we have an important announcement to make as far as conduct. We have, if you haven't been to a Riptide show before and you're listening, firstly go and buy a ticket, but we have signs up around the venue. Usually we will say, with a little bit of sort of code of conduct with regards to no homophobic, transphobic, ableists, sexist, misogynistic shouting or chanting. And I've seen it happen in other places in the country where people sort of take a stance on this and they get met with quite a negative response, whereas it's either, for the most part, it's pretty positive. And I think it's a community where people want people to be able to feel comfortable and safe at the show. So that's why they welcome that with open arms, I think, and that's something I'm really proud of, that our community comes with us on the journey and actually supports that.
It just creates a good atmosphere, and that's largely down to the fan behaviour, and I think that's very cool, and that's another thing to be proud of about the company. Very
proud of that, and very proud of Brighton. So that ties in very nicely, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, there's no better way to end than on that, I think. So thank you very much for popping over, Tom.
Thank you.
Let's eat some butter and rich granola bars, because that's very Brighton, and that is literally sat next to the recorder. So let's have some munchies.
Om nom nom.